2.3 Linear functions and slopes preparation. We want to identify the slope and y-intercepts of the line with each equation and then graph. Okay, so identify the slope, the y-intercept of the line with each equation. And then how do we do that? We use that using the slope-intercept, right? The slope-intercept. The slope-intercept. Okay, and that is y is equal to mx plus b. That will give you the slope there, and that will give you your y-intercept using the b right there as your y value. Okay, so let's try it. Okay, we have a couple right here. So m in this case is going to be the 2/3, and the y-intercept is going to be 0, and then we're going to use this, -1. Okay. First step in this is going to be we're going to plot the y-intercept. So I'll go back to using a color. 0, -1. So right in the middle, then we go down 1 right there. Fair enough. Okay. And then from there, 2/3, right? That's the slope. 2/3, which means we're going to go up 2 into the right 3. Up 2 to the right 3. And we can even do it again if we want to. Up 2 over to the right 3. Up 2 over to the right 3, and so on and so forth, right? So we just draw a line through all these things. Okay, so let's try this over here now. So in this case, they didn't solve for y first, so we have to solve. We have to get this positive 4y by itself, the variable term with the y in it first. So we have to get rid of this positive 3x. We do that by subtracting 3x, and whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. So that gives me 4y is equal to -3x plus 8. Next, we want to undo the multiplication of y by 4 by dividing by 4, and whatever we do to one side, we do to the other, which gives me y is equal to, -3/4 x, and then 8 divided by 4 is 2. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so we end up with y is equal to -3/4 x plus 2, and we know the slope in this case is going to be the -3/4, and we know the y-intercept is going to be 0, 2. Okay, so now we plot the y-intercept. That's the first step. So we have 0, 2, so we go up 2. Let me change the color. And then from there, we're going to use the geometric interpretation of the slope, which in this case is -3 over +4. Just wanted to verify. So we're going to go down 3 into the right 4. -3 on top, down 3. +4 on the bottom to the right 4. So we're going down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we go over to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we want, we can even do it again. We can go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and we can go to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, from there, it looks something like oh dear. Looks something like that. Hopefully yours looks better. Okay. So we learned how to graph using the point slope formula, how to find the slope and the y-intercept. Sorry, said the wrong thing. The slope-intercept formula. So using the slope-intercept formula, we found out how to find the slope and the y-intercept. Okay. Now we're going to use the point slope formula to write an equation, a linear equation, equation of a line, a linear equation, given a point and a slope. Okay. So again, we need to memorize this, the point slope form, and we know we're going to use this equation we're going to use this form to come up with our own linear equation. But to come up with our own linear equation, given the point slope form, we have to find a point and a slope. We have to know that so we can plug it in. Okay, so let's try this. So first, I'm going to write the general form, which is y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. And right here we can say this is 0.1, therefore that's x1 and that's y1, and the slope is -3. At this point we plug everything in, right? So we say y minus, well, what's y1? It's 4, is equal to m being -3, x minus x1, what's x1? It's -2, and we plug it in. Notice that I had to say minus -2. If I just would have put a minus 2 there, that would have been correct. I'm subtracting a negative 2. I'm not subtracting a positive 2. I'm not subtracting 2. So we don't want to make a careless sign error there. So we say y minus 4 is equal to negative 3 multiplied by, I'm simplifying within the parentheses. Subtracting a negative 2 is the same as adding a 2. Next we say y minus 4 is equal to, and I distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. And then we say plus 4, cancel, cancel. And we end up with y is equal to negative 3x minus 2. Okay. Write an equation of each line, give the final answer in slope-intercept form. I should have explained that. Technically, as soon as I plugged it in, I mean, this is an equation, and this is an equation, and it is a linear equation. It's just not in a certain form. But they had specified they want it in slope-intercept form, so I had to keep on going. That's why I had to go all the way until I got to solve for y, okay? Because they specifically said, give the final answer in slope-intercept form. They don't always ask you to put it in slope-intercept form. If they do not ask you to put it in slope-intercept form, if they ask you to put it in some other form, you have to go put it in some other form. Okay, now the second one, they give you your points, your point, which is right here. Oops, sorry, y1. That's illegible. All right, so y1. Okay, so our point slope formula is y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. We plug what we know. In this case, we plug in we subtract y1. y1 is 2, is equal to m. m is equal to 3/5. X minus x1. X1 is 4, so we subtract 4. Okay. Now, I want to get rid of this fraction. So the way I get rid of the fraction is I take well, there's only one fraction in this case, so I multiply everything by 5. All right. So what I end up here is I say 5y minus, right? 5 times y is 5y. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. We do the other side. 5 times 3/5 is 3. And we just do it. We only distribute it to the coefficient in front of the parentheses. We don't do it within the parentheses. So basically we're saying, let's say we have a box like that, right? And let's say I only have one of these. Okay, well, let's say I have 2 of those, right? Well, so I have a box and I have a box, right? And I say because I have 2 of those, I have twice as much stuff, twice as much groupings, right? So I have twice as much grouping, I have twice as much stuff, right? Okay, but the problem would be if I distribute it within side, right? So if I distributed the 2 within side, instead of just having 2 of these, right? That'd be like, I don't just have 2 times as many of those groupings, right? I would also have twice as much stuff as in each one. Okay, so we don't want to distribute within the parentheses as well as distribute inside, because then we don't just have twice as many groupings, we have 4 times as many. Okay, so when I stopped at multiplying by putting the 3 in front of the coefficient in front of the parentheses, that'd be like this, right? So if I was trying to double it, I have twice as many groupings. That's what I want. In this case, I want 3 times as many groupings, though, right? But if I distributed it, I wouldn't just have 3 times as many, I'd have 9 times as many, right? I wouldn't just have 3 times as many groupings, I'd have 3 times as much stuff in the grouping, so I wouldn't just be multiplying it by 3, I'd effectively be multiplying it by 9, right? So we're going to stop at distributing the 5 to the coefficient or the number in front of the parentheses, right? But we're not going to put it inside the parentheses because we've already got that covered, right? If you multiply the number of parentheses, you've already got that many more times as much stuff, right? You don't need to put it inside the parentheses as well, because then you're hitting it twice. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so at this point, we're trying to get the 5y by itself because they want us to put it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to distribute. We say 5y minus 10 is equal to 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times negative 4, which is negative 12. Whoops. And then I'm going to get the 5y, the variable term with the y right there by itself, by adding 10. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And that gives me 5y is equal to 3x minus 2. At that point, I want to undo the multiplication of y by 5 by dividing by 5. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And that gives me y is equal to 3/5 x minus 2/5. And they want a slope-intercept form, so that's it. All right. So now we want to write an equation of each line passing through the 2 points, given the final answer in slope-intercept form. Now we know we're going to use the point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. Okay, so we have a point. Good. We have point 1, which gives me x1 and y1. So far, so good. We have point 2, which gives me x2 and y2. So far, so good. I need to plug in my point, which is the y1 and x1 here. So far, so good. But I also need a slope. That's not good. Okay, so I need a point and a slope to plug it into the point-slope form to come up with a linear equation. Okay, but that's okay because I know from earlier there is an equation given 2 points how to find a slope. And that's the slope m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so what is my y2? It looks like it is a 5. y1, it looks like that is my 4. We have x2, which looks like that's -2. We have we have x1, which looks like it is a 3. Okay, 5 minus 4 is 1. -2 minus 3 is -5. So it looks like my slope is -1/5. Okay, now I have enough information to use this formula to come up with a linear equation. So I plug my stuff in. So y minus y1, what's my y1? It is a 4. Right? And then I say it's equal to m. M is equal to -1/5. I can write that better. Rewrite that better. There you go. And then x minus x1, x1 being 3. That gives me y minus 4 is equal to -1/5. I don't really need to rewrite that. Now, I want to get rid of my fractions. And the way I get rid of the fractions is I find the least common denominator, in this case the 5, there is only one denominator, and I multiply this entire equation by 5, right? So 5 times y is 5y, 5 times -4 is -20, 5 times -1/5 is -1, and we're going to end up with x minus 3. At this point I distribute it, so I say 5y minus 20 is equal to -1 times x is -x, and -1 times +3 is +3. Now, technically, you didn't have to write a -1 there. You could have just written negative. It just kind of implied one, and then flip all the signs inside the parentheses. You didn't have to put the -1 there. You just put the negative. That's okay. Now, at this point, I want to isolate my variable term with the y. So I have to undo the subtraction of 20 by adding 20, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Those cancel out. That gives me 5y is equal to -x plus 23. And then I want to undo the multiplication of y by 5 by dividing by 5. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And that gives me -1/5 x plus 23 over 5.